All right, this shiur is for the merit of Rachel Chaya Bat Sarah and Refuah Shlema of Reuben Leiv Ben Chana. Everything in the universe is always in a constant motion. Everything is moving. And we also must be moving all the time. The problem is like this. When a person does not act, or the person does not move, or does not progress, we need to understand that there is such thing spiritually. It's called a klipa, a husk that covers you over. What the klipa does is the klipa is external, and therefore the klipa prevents you, closes within on the object, and the object, which is us, was designed to always receive light and project the light. We, in a way, like a prism or like a filter, that the divine light comes through us and then comes out. When we are not in action, what happens is slowly we develop, we call it spiritual moss or spiritual rust that comes on the outside and slowly prevents from light to come out from you and not to receive the light from above. Because it's covering now. It's almost like a sunscreen, different levels of that. It prevents from the light to come in, and as a result of that, light does not come out. And so therefore when I want to do what is so-called ish tachat gafno v'tachat einato, I want to sit down and relax and chillax and do all these things. What happens is I'm not in movement. And Chazal told us right away that batala mavia lidei zima, right? Sitting down idly makes you to do very bad things. And why very bad things? Because you're bored to death, and therefore no light can come in, influence you, and you influence your environment. As a result of that, what happens is, not only I do bad things, I also not able to influence my friends, and my friends are not able to positively influence me. I don't want to learn. I don't want to pray. Everything that somebody tells me spiritually, elevate yourself, I resist that. Somebody will tell you, listen, you should learn Musar. You will say, no, I don't want to learn Musar. Somebody tells you, I don't want to learn Gemara. I say, I don't want to learn Gemara. That I don't want to means I don't want to be in motion of something that is good for me. That's why you have to be all the time in movement. What happens afterwards, even though the klipa is really external, but slowly, like rust, it goes further into the object until it simply crumbles it down. I just want to see it for a name for someone. No, it's not the name. I'm looking to dedicate to somebody else. So therefore, it will eat you and corrode you from the inside until the point that you're going to be completely corroded. You're going to simply crumble and fall apart. And that's exactly what happens, for example, to rust. Rust starts on the surface, right? And then it penetrates inside. And before you know, the whole thing is just put your finger through it and it falls apart. Layer by layer. It separates layer by layer. A metal is a solid piece, right? It's pretty solid. And then comes the corrosion, and you can simply peel the metal layer by layer. That's exactly what happened to us. We need to therefore all the time be in movement, learning, moving, progressing, developing. And you could see so from the words of Chazal, the Torah maviyah lidei yirah, and so the words of Yair ben Pinchas, and also lishmor, la'asot, lilmod u'lelamed, right? We have to learn, right? Lilmod u'lelamed, lishmor, la'asot u'lekayem. The shmirah of the mitzvot will be, the kiyum mitzvot, only about learning, but not only learning and progressing from one stage to another. Another thing which is very important is to learn, of course, appropriately. And that we're going to dedicate a special session to that. Or maybe we shouldn't. I'm going to tell you like this. we shouldn't only just replicate what other people are saying. It's like, for example, let me give you an example for music. There are musicians, let's say there is a piano player and there is a musician. A musician, right, will play. He plays the music. A piano player will also play the piano. In other words, if you only, and that's what they teach you in school, and that's what you've been taught, for example, an instrument. They teach you, for example, Brahms, Chopin, right, Mozart, and so on. So teach you this book, finish, this book you finish, this book you finish, put it aside, put it aside, put it aside, put it aside. So therefore, you're always replicating what somebody else is saying or what somebody else is doing, but you're never creating. You're never applying it to yourself. And that's why, for example, there are people who can play piano beautifully, but they cannot generate their own music. That is very important for the spiritual movement. If I only, chas v'shalom, don't get me wrong, but if you only are interested, but who said what said who, and so on and so forth, you're never going to be able to apply it to your own lives. And since you don't apply it to your own life, Torah would never be something that it's moving. Because in your life you're moving, you're progressing. Whatever you saw in your eyes when you were 3 years old, it's gone. Now it exists only as a memory in your head. Imagine, by the way, this 3-year-old kid is gone from this world. As much as I look at you and I see the 20-year-old person that I was, gone and exists in the memory of a person that I'm 57. Exists in my memory. But I progressed, I move, and you also. So as much as you progress and you move, also your spirituality needs to be in constant moving. Always moving, always moving. If you rest, the murk comes out. You're not going to see mold or mildew growing in running water. Once they settle down, it start to become swampy. And that's what you don't want in your life. That's why it's very important that you're always going to examine yourself. What is that you're doing today? To learn something and to apply it. The most important thing in that creation of movement is to learn how to apply it to what I do. So therefore, it does not make a difference, if I learn Masechet Yomah, that deals with Bet HaMikdash, or I learn Masechet Brachot, which talks about Brachot. I need to be able, as a teacher, I need to be able to teach you how this applies to your own life. How does it apply to what you do today? You as students need to ask the question, how do we apply this to our lives today? Why is that I can learn that I could apply it? And then you create, and then eventually becomes your Torah. So Rabotai, it's very, very, very important. First of all, not to be lazy. Always to learn. Lalechet michayil el chayil. Larutz. Em ratzim ve'anu ratzim. To always go, to strive, to do more, to do things, to do other things different. And again, the most important thing is, as far as I'm concerned, is really learn to apply it to yourself. Never, ever settle down. Once you stop moving, that's death. Sometimes when the body stops moving, that's physical death. But when the neshama stops moving, that's spiritual death. The neshama needs to be like mercury, or like electrons, always moving, bouncing. When it freezes down, when it reaches 0 Kelvin, there's no more atomic movements. And then everything is the ultimate zero, it's dead. Don't be frozen. Be active. Learn to apply. Keep on moving. Learn, progress, and move on. Have a great day.